All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. It's still a sad day. Obviously, yesterday we lost Luke Sandoe. But I wanted to start off this video talking about Luke and a couple of different things here. Number one, I wanted to start out talking about the GoFundMe that has been set up for Luke's family in Luke's memory. So this is the Luke Sandoe Tribute Fund set up by his friends, Fuad Abiad and also Ben Chow. And this GoFundMe was set up specifically for Luke's children. If you guys didn't know, Luke was a father. And I think this is really actually amazing. The goal of this campaign was 50,000 pounds, which is a little over 60,000 US dollars. And they've already reached almost that goal, 47,332. So I was actually really happy to see how the bodybuilding community has responded to this and decided to donate to this campaign. So I wanted to encourage you guys. There's 853,000 of you guys on this channel. If all of you donated $1, just $1 each, there'd be almost $1 million for Luke's children here. So I'm donating to this, and I would encourage you guys to as well. And I wanted to shout out Fuad Abiad and Ben Chow for having the foresight to put something like this together, because it's a sad situation for obviously Luke's friends and family and all the fans of Luke, but I think sometimes people forget Luke did have kids. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. So also in Luke Sandoe news, I know there's been a lot of speculation and rumors about what exactly happened to Luke. Now, Luke's best friend, or one of his best friends, Ben Chow, who was his training partner, he filmed a lot of his videos. Ben put out a video on his Instagram page where he wanted to clear up what exactly happened to Luke. And I think it's important to clarify this for a number of reasons, what exactly did happen to Luke. Now, we don't know all the details. We don't know all the specifics. But Ben says in his video that it was Luke's choice, essentially saying that Luke did take his own life, and he wanted it to be known that this wasn't a drug-related thing. This wasn't another, standard bodybuilder death. This wasn't a health issue that Luke had. It was a mental health issue. And it was an issue that Ben said Luke had been dealing with even before he even stepped in a gym. I've seen the comments. I'm sure you guys have seen the comments. People are already going wild with the, well, that's what happens when you take drugs comments. So I wanted to make sure that not only did I share that GoFundMe, but I wanted to share Ben's, his take on the situation. And I thought it was important to clarify, this was not your standard bodybuilder death, heart attack, health-related, drug-related. This wasn't that. Luke was dealing with things that I guess a lot of people didn't know he was dealing with, and this was the result. And I think it's also important to make that clear, because I think it does serve as a good mental health awareness situation. I mean, if you are struggling, it's one of those things where this kind of just talk to somebody. Don't suffer in silence, and I think the stigma of talking to people about what you're going through prevents a lot of people, especially a man, a big bodybuilder. I'm sure it was hard for Luke to open up about some of these things to people, just having the image that he had. So I think it serves as a good, PSA to just talk about things and be willing to listen to people that want to talk to you. And like I said in my video yesterday, Luke was always willing to listen to me, and he talked to me about a lot of stuff, and I was able to open up to him about a lot of stuff. So rest in peace to Luke Sandoe. I don't want to speculate. I don't want to talk about, the circumstances around his passing anymore. But I do think it's important that we make it clear that this was not drug-related or health-related or anything like that. I do think it's very important to point that out. Now, for the rest of this video, I want to go back to a bodybuilding news style of video, because there is some really big news this week. A couple different stories that I wanted to talk about here. Luke Sandoe, I was actually going to post this video yesterday talking about these things, but I wanted to only post the video of Luke yesterday. But there is some big news about the Olympia. So the Mr. Olympia 2020 is being rescheduled. So the IFBB Pro League first put out a post on their Instagram saying, important announcement, the 2020 Mr. Olympia is not canceled, but they will be announcing new dates soon. The contest will take place in Vegas 2020. Stay tuned here along with NPC News Online official page and the Olympia, IFBB Pro League, and NPC News Online websites. So the Olympia was originally scheduled for the second weekend of September. So who knows when they're actually going to postpone this to. Now, they did say in a follow-up post on IFBB Pro League's Instagram page that the announcement the bodybuilding world has been waiting for, all the speculation, ends this Monday. So I'm guessing on Monday they're going to announce new dates for the Olympia. Now, honestly, I do think they have a little bit of wiggle room here because typically after the Olympia, the pro shows for the rest of the year, because you've got the rest of September, you've got October, November, and December. For those months, they're not that exciting because all the big shows are basically over. Everybody's qualified for the Olympia. Everybody did the Olympia, and a lot of people shut it down after the Olympia. So I think they could push it back maybe a month, maybe even 2 months, and still be fine. I think it's not really a huge deal. If they push it back, it's not really going to have that many implications on the rest of the bodybuilding year at this point, especially relative to the implications that have already happened with the bodybuilding industry this year. I mean, it's already been completely ruined, the bodybuilding season. I mean, the only negative to this is, number one, for the organizers of the event, because they're going to have to, the logistics of the Olympia, I'm sure, are a nightmare. And to secure that venue and secure all the things that they rented or procured for that weekend, all the vendors, if they're still going to be having the expo, which I don't know if they are, to push that all back, I think would be a tremendous undertaking. And also people that have already bought their flights or hotels or tickets, planning on those original dates in September. But at least it looks like we're going to know well in advance, in contrast to the Arnold Classic, where we didn't really know until literally the day the show started that things were being canceled. So we'll wait and see what they say on Monday. But it is a pretty big deal, the Olympia being rescheduled and getting new dates. Who knows if it's just going to be later in September. I would think if they were going to actually decide to take that step to reschedule the Olympia, they would at least push for like a whole month later, not just a couple weeks later. That would be my opinion. So my prediction will be they're going to say sometime in October. And I think as a result of that, they're probably going to push back Athleticon too. So I think we're going to see this announcement, and then we're also going to see some announcements about Athleticon coming right around the corner from this announcement. Now, next up in the news, you guys might have heard that the legendary Gold's Gym, featured in Pumping Iron with Arnold Schwarzenegger, the classic Gold's Gym, has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy because of the issues with the lockdown and the quarantine impacting their financial state. So Gold's Gym looks like it's pretty officially done. Now, I had some Gold's Gyms in my area years ago, but they shut down a long time ago. And now there are over 700 Gold's Gym locations worldwide. So it's interesting to see this. It is bad news, but it's interesting to speculate what's going to happen to Gold's Gym. Now, I know they shut down permanently about 30 of those 700 Gold's Gym's locations. And I'm not an expert on what exactly Chapter 11 bankruptcy is, but in their press release, the CEO of Gold's Gym said, "We want to be 100% clear that Gold's Gym is not going out of business." So this was a major negative for the company, but I don't think this is the last that we're going to see of Gold's Gym. I do think it's a major setback, and you're probably going to see a lot of Gold's Gyms continue to close. But it looks like this is not the end of Gold's Gym. And honestly, I doubt this will be the only gym company that we see have issues like this, especially in the next coming weeks, maybe coming months. I know a lot of gyms still have not reopened, and we're going into June now. March to June, you're talking about a quarter of a year. That's 3 months, March, April, May, June. That's a long time to not have a gym open, canceling memberships, not taking in that monthly income. You still got to pay rent. You still got to pay utilities. You still got to pay on whatever equipment you financed for that gym. And Gold's Gym, they're a big dog, man. You're going to see a lot of these smaller gyms that aren't these big corporations suffering to a much higher extent than Gold's Gym is. So I thought that was definitely a big piece of bodybuilding news there. Now, here's a story you guys might find interesting, and this is not an April Fool's joke. The world's strongest man, we know it's been postponed, it's not happening when it usually does, but it is holding a $10,000 Snapchat World's Strongest Man Home Edition tournament, which will be broadcast only on Snapchat. Yes, this is not a joke. This is really happening. So it's going to begin on Monday, May 11th, which coincidentally is my 27th birthday. So that will be the first day of this $10,000 Snapchat challenge. And each day there will be a different event, and I believe only 2 competitors each day in kind of a bracketed system. So May 11th, you're going to have the overhead press. May 18th, deadlift for reps. May 25th, loading race. June 1st, farmer's walk and carry. June 8th, loading race. June 15th, farmer's walk and carry. June 22nd, deadlift for reps. June 29th, overhead press. And Monday, July 6th, the finals face-off for the $10,000 World Strongest Snapchat Champion, whatever they're going to call it. So these are definitely interesting times we're living in. We're seeing things happen that have never happened before. And obviously this is not for any type of official World's Strongest Man title. So it's not, like the world record situation. This is just kind of for fun and to entertain the fans until the World's Strongest Man does actually happen. Now next up, also in strongman news, Robert Oberst calls out Nick Best to be on the prelim of the Thor Bjornsson-Eddie Hall boxing match. Now, I got to be honest with you guys, I'm not really buying into this one, and I don't really care about this one. But everybody's talking about it. So Robert called out Nick. Nick responded, and now there's talk of them being on the undercard of the Thor versus Eddie boxing match. Nick and Robert, they're on the same TV show together. As far as I know, they're friends. I've never really heard of any real animosity between them. Really, I think it's just a publicity thing, and I'm not really buying into a serious rivalry that is sellable. I mean, I'm not buying into it. I'm sure a lot of other people aren't either. If I bought the fight, honestly, and, I had the whole card to watch, I'd probably skip their fight and only watch the Thor and Eddie fight. And speaking of Thor versus Eddie Hall, an official date has been announced, or a tentative date, I guess you could say. It will be September of 2021 in Las Vegas, the heaviest boxing match in history. Eddie the Beast Hall, World's Strongest Man 2017 versus Thor Julius Bjornsson, the Mountain, World's Strongest Man 2018. An epic and unprecedented pay-per-view experience, September of 2021. Now, recently, Thor did an interview with TMZ where he not only says he could have pulled 520 kilograms on that day instead of 501, and he just chose not to. He also went on to take a shot at Eddie Hall and said, I honestly think that he's just trying to protect that thing that he had. For him, it meant a lot to him to have the 500-kilogram deadlift world record. He's just trying everything he can to make people believe that my record doesn't count. But it does count. It's a world record, and that's just how it is. So that's going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. I hope you guys have a better day today than we all had yesterday with the news of Luke Sandoe's passing. My thoughts and condolences go out to Luke's family and friends. And again, I would encourage you guys to go check out that Luke Sandoe Tribute Fund. It will be linked in the description box below. So as always, thank you guys for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you did in fact enjoy it. And as always, Nick Strength and Power, signing out.